This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
You're listening to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Mountain Glass Arts. For the month of April 2018, Mountain Glass has their Boros sale going. Pyrex rod and tube at 45% off. Just put in the coupon code PYREX, P-Y-R-E-X at checkout. And for all you beautiful soft glass nerds, they have their soft glass double helix rod 15% off sale. All you have to do is put in the coupon code DHelix at checkout. Again, Pyrex rod and tube 45% off. Use coupon code PYREX. And soft glass sale double helix rod 15% off. Just put in the coupon code DHelix. And anybody out there that makes pencil dabbers that are out there in the pipe community, I came across a pencil the other day that I went to go repair, and it was made of soft glass. So something to think about when you're making pencil dabbers or any kind of other dabbers out there for tools. It's not a bad idea to try to use a little bit cheaper material where the soft glass rods are really affordable in terms of mass high production items. The glass isn't always necessarily as durable per se as Pyrex, but for a really good utility item, it's not a bad idea. Just a little something to put that out there for you. So until next time, again, go to mountainglass.com for any other comments, questions, or concerns. That's mountainglass.com. Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode 191. This is your host, Jason Michael, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's episode features glass artist Steven Geller. You can find him on Instagram at Steller Glass. That's Stellerglass. And Steven and I have been chit-chatting back and forth for a while. Him and I participated together in the third chapter of the first ever Tournament of Fire, the Instagram tournament that's going on, which is actually going on right now. Round one just ended. And or chapter 1, I should say. And it goes by pretty quick. It's a lot of fun, though, getting to see all the online stream live and what have you. So we're going to be bringing them on board here, which I'm super excited about. St. George won, and I'm actually going to bring it up real quick just to make sure I got the... So we're going to be having the part of the winners get to come on the show as part of their prize, which I'm super pumped to be a part of this whole thing. So we're going to be having... St. George is going to be coming on. He is badass, and his piece that he made, you can find him. It's just basically his Instagram is st. It's at st.george, George, Josh St. George, and he made some pretty amazing stuff. He made this really a cool samurai warrior, which was his piece that more or less got him through the tournament and won. But he'll be coming on the show. And then the Smoke Shop, that was his associated sponsor as well, is coming on. And they are Smokin' Smitties. And you can find them on Instagram at Smokin', SMOKIN _ SMITTYS. And I'll have everybody's links and stuff in the show notes. I can't give enough love to Cherry Glass and the Tournament of Fire and all them up there. They're really doing an amazing job on what's been going on, and the rules this year changed a little bit on how things are rolling as they fine-tune stuff, and it's so fun just to be a part of it and watch it grow. And it's going by so fast, and I'm forgetting to share their posts, so I got to make sure this next round I'm definitely paying attention to with the notifications, which something I forget about doing is setting up notifications for certain people that want to make sure I see their stuff. So give me 1 second. Yeah, so again, definitely pretty pumped about that. My daughter and I have been recently working on a little side hustle. We have a little company brand that we're launching here pretty soon. It is called Inspired on Main Street. And we got the idea to see a lot of little small boutique companies out there that are Disney inspired or theme park inspired companies that are, whether they're making ears to wear to the parks or different T-shirt designs, etc. And my daughter's in school right now for marketing and graphic design, etc. And basically, her and I have been talking for a while about doing something together in a business sense. So we are launching everything. We're starting pre-sales on our T-shirts. Which is going to be our main focus on the apparel side of things right now. It was going to be on May 30th is the pre-sale, and then the official launch, or not May 30th, on June 30th, or June. Let me back up here. It's going to be we're going to be doing the pre-sale on April 30th, and then that will run until May 4th, which will be the official launch date of the actual line of work and shirts. If you'd like to be a part of the pre-sale or just join our newsletter, I'm going to have a link in the show notes. It's right now just a simple page we have connected to the Wise Guy Media page as we begin to build the site and get our online store going on. We have a big cartel already all set up with all the designs. As of right now, we have 4 shirts that are theme park inspired shirts, which we're super excited about. And it's been fun working with my kid because she's super talented, and it's been kind of like where I'll come up with an idea and then pass it on to her, and then she comes up with the design. And one or two of the designs that we have, she's come up with completely herself. And we have a whole lot of fun stuff going back and forth. And being that her and I are big Disney nerds, it's going to be a lot of fun to come up with all these fun little spontaneous ideas of potential designs we can work on. That are just little inspired fun things that we're doing. So again, I'll have the links in the show notes if you're interested in supporting the cause, etc. And we're going to be having a lot of fun with it. And you'll see us also on Instagram. Our Instagram is @InspiredOnMain. And you'll see us posting on there as well. So definitely come on for that. And for all of our early subscribers and for those that are in the pre-sale, we're offering 15% off your total purchase as well. And we have a coupon code that you will get as soon as you subscribe to our newsletter. And I'll have that, again, that link will be in the show notes. You can get the little discount coupon off for yourself. And just wanted to plug that real quick before I forgot about it. And until then, I got some news from the Flow magazine that the upcoming functional issue is going to be spectacular. I can't wait to see that. But up until then, we have the nature exhibit is out, and the Paperweights and Marbles is coming up pretty soon too, which I'm excited about that as well. If you guys have not yet subscribed to the Flow magazine, I definitely suggest that you do. It's super affordable, and you can also use our discount Wise Guy Radio on there. Just put in the coupon code WiseGuy, WYZGUI at checkout, and you'll get 10% off an annual subscription to the quarterly publication of the Flow magazine. And I love getting it in the mail. It's super informative and has so much just amazing stuff in it: knowledge, pictures, tutorials, cool articles, a lot of good advertisement and places that you may not know about that exist in terms of companies that are out there that are that are published in terms of the advertising in the magazine itself too. Just a lot of good stuff, and they have an online version, digital-wise, and also a paper version you can get. So other than that, I'm going to stop rambling here and just let you guys get into this interview. I hope you do enjoy it with Stephen Geller. Again, you can find him on Instagram @StellerGlass, StellerGlass. If you have not yet subscribed to our newsletter for the podcast, you can go to wiseguymedia.com. If you go on there, a little pop-up comes up that asks if you want to subscribe. You can just put your name in there. Now that we have the other newsletter going with my other daughter's company, we're going to be getting this one going as well, like I've been talking about. So we're up to speed. And we're going to be offering all kind of cool stuff on there too, exclusively for those who have subscribed and also listen to the show. So stay tuned for that, and share with your friends, reviews on iTunes, all that good stuff. We'd love it all. And if you have not yet gone to our Patreon account and become a wise ass, for a little as $1 a month, you can help support this podcast and all the stuff we take care of here on this end, financially wise. It would be greatly appreciated. And as this community continues to grow, so will this show. So until next time, we love you guys. Stay tuned for my interview with Stephen Geller. Talk to you. Bye. What's going on, Steven? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, dude, definitely glad to get you on here. We've been making our schedules work together and had a couple busy days here, so I'm glad we're able to make this work on somewhat of a day off, even though there's never really a day off when you're self-employed.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So before we get all too kind of crazy here, if you want to get us rolling with how you were introduced to the flame.
Yeah, so back in 2002, I was 18 at the time, and I was kind of hanging out with some buddies, and I had this pipe in my hand. It was just this wrap and rake pipe, but even to this day, I would say it was a really nicely made pipe. You know, it was clean. And so I was looking at this pipe, and I mentioned to my friends that I was smoking with, was just like, man, I think I want to learn how to blow glass. And my buddy, who had been a good friend for years, I had never met his brother, but he said, you know, my brother, he blows glass, but he lives up in Humboldt. He's coming down for Christmas. Maybe he can show you some stuff or whatever. I was like, got all excited, like, yeah, cool, that's tight. So he came down for Christmas to visit. He was going to stay a couple months. His name is Casey Seaver. And I asked him, and, you know, the one rule, or one of the rules he had was, you know, I'll show you whatever I know, but you got to buy your torch first. Because, you know, back then, that was his thing. He's like, everybody wants to learn to blow glass, but nobody will buy a torch.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So he's like, buy a torch, and I'll show you what I know. And he made, you know, back then, 2002, same as everybody else, a lot of fume work, a lot of caramel and blue, and just, you know, wrap and rake everything. But it was really nice. Like, I came up not spin trailing. I know a lot of people spin trail, but we would always pull stringers and do individual rings and then rake. And I always felt like it looked cleaner. And so that's, he showed me to do that and stuff, and he never really taught me, like, it wasn't an apprenticeship. It wasn't taking classes or anything. It was just, yeah, come over, watch me blow glass, and then you can go home and you can try. So I set up my shop and started blowing glass in March 7th of 2003 was the day I lit my own torch at my house. Anyways, he would let me come over. I'd watch over his shoulder. And then I'd go home and try something. He's like, the only rule I really want to give you, or the only rule I really have, is, he said, no pipes for 6 months. Wow. And so I would go home, I would do Laticinos, and, you know, we couldn't really make pipes to try and, especially for a while after, couldn't make pipes to sell anywhere really. So I would make like incense holders and things like that, you know, just all the old shit that we all used to make just to kind of say, this is what I do. I don't make pipes, you know, when in the back of your fucking shit, you're really making pipes.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so he told me, he said, no pipes for 6 months. So I respected that. You know, I would come over and I would make pendants and, you know, things like that. I come over and show them to him. And I remember, like, it wasn't it's funny because I've kind of been known by a lot of people in this industry for being the guy, like, I don't care, you know, who you are, what your name is. If I see something that looks bad, I'm going to point at it and say, hey, this sucks, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it's because of him bringing me up that way. Like, I would bring him pendants, or even when I finally did after the 6 months, when I'd start making pipes and things, and I'd put little attachments, marbles, whatever on them, and I'd bring them over. I'd show him to him, like, check out this thing I made. And he'd flick the fucking horn or whatever. He'd just flick it off of the piece. And he said, that wasn't welded very well, was it?
Exactly.
You know? Right. So, not long into blowing glass, less, or maybe around a year after starting to blow glass, my son was born. And, you know, back then it was where we were, especially, there weren't a lot of glass blowers in our area. There was Casey, which he didn't do it for a living. It was just fun to him, you know. And then there was 3 Dot Blaine, which is still around, really cool dude. But he was not really someone I could just access or find or get a hold of. You know, you go into a smoke shop and, you know, you ask about somebody, and, you know, they're worried that you're going to get them caught up or something. Because back then, you know, it was right around or just after the time of Operation Pipe Dreams. So everything was still real secretive, and there wasn't much online. So pretty much all I could learn from was really Casey. And then there was the melting pot that came out after a while. But yeah, so anyway, Casey was showing me some stuff here and there, and I would go home and I'd make my pieces, put them in my vermiculite in the crock pot. And I didn't have a kiln even for shoot, I don't know how long. It was probably 2 years before I got a kiln. Yeah, it was 2 years, because that crock pot, he told me to turn it on high and just leave it. So I turned it on high, and my crock pot stayed on high 24/7 for 2 years.
Wow.
Just on top of my bench. And, surprisingly, I had very little breakage in that thing. Yeah, so anyway, I blew glass just as a hobby until 2015, actually, because was it 2012, I want to say, is when Instagram came out.
Yeah, it's about
2000-ish. Right. And I got on Instagram, and not long after that, I was finally I was meeting new glass blowers and finding people to ask questions and things like that. And I actually ended up meeting Eric Spinney, who goes by Red Nose Glass, and Jeff Burning Glass. And we ended up meeting and hanging out and became real good friends even to this day. They're amazing guys who I have a lot to, I thank them a lot for really getting me to where I'm at, as far as pushing me to do this full time. Because in 2015, I was a FedEx driver, delivery driver, and still blowing glass just as a hobby, from 03 until 2015. This was weekend warrior stuff for me.
Yeah.
And so they convinced me to go with them to Age and do a trade show and try it out, if nothing else, just to hang out in Vegas with them, So the three of us, we split a room when it was at damn it, I can't remember what the hotel was, the one across the street from the Hard Rock.
I'm not sure myself.
Yeah, so we went, I did the trade show, and I managed to, while working during the peak season as a delivery driver, managed to make enough glass to go to Vegas and actually do really well that year. And it kind of convinced me that, hey, maybe I can do this for a living. Because in my mind, I tried to, I pushed the numbers as a delivery driver. I was making $140 a day. It's I can definitely make $140, a day more in glass, which, sounds super easy, but some days it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Some days it costs me $140 to work.
Right.
Yeah, so I convinced myself that maybe I could do this, and they kind of pushed it a little bit, and I ended up in March of 2015. I put in my notice. I quit FedEx, and the rest has just been progression and moving forward here. Coming up, I never really had any formal classes. The internet wasn't readily available. It was just, I wonder what else I can make today. It was always, I didn't come up doing proto like a lot of people do. I kind of just came up what do I want to make today? Because that was the only thing I was going to get to make today, So I did get to learn a lot of different techniques, from trial and error. And then I got to learn a lot, how to make a lot of different things. So that when I got to this point where I did get to finally meet different artists and, hang out with different people, watch guys work, collab with different guys. And I could see how to take all those, things that I learned through trial and error and actually sharpen them up, clean them up, and turn that into the multiple, the big range of products that I make now. I know a lot of people will notice looking through my feeds online through social media and stuff that you don't see too many really long runs of anything, or you're constantly seeing me make something else. Recently I did the functional rig shot glasses, or things like that. And I think a lot of that just comes from the way I came up and learned, and kind of just pushed me to make everything out of glass rather than just making that one thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been the same kind of way, dude. Like I've always kind of just like I'll learn something and then I go on to the next thing. I always find the things that I learned that I really gravitate more towards, I hold on to and just like add that to my repertoire of the next thing I add to it, you know, and it constantly grows and grows and grows. And then you finally have like a body of work that you can say is kind of like your voice in your work. But you've gone through all this other shit you've made in the past as trial and error and, you know, going on just as you increase your techniques. Well, it's just like adding tools to your toolbox, more or less.
Right, exactly. Well, there's this, you know, a good buddy of mine and I actually had a conversation last night. We were talking about something kind of along those lines where there's a difference between making a product for everyone and making a product for someone. You know, I started back in early in my glass blowing. I had started a company called Forever Loved Glass, and I was making, actually Casey and I began this together, but in 2002 or 2003 we started making the pendants and things with cremated ashes in them, right? Mm-hmm. And so even to today, one of my favorite things to make is those cremated, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a pendant, but just anything with the ashes, because I can make $1,000 rig, but if I make a $50 teardrop pendant with ashes in it and whatever, that person that gets that simple little teardrop pendant that didn't really take me a whole lot of time is going to appreciate that piece so much more than the person that has this $1,000 plus whatever heady some piece of rig, you know? So there, you know, I had this idea where I'm taking things and I'll make a shadow box and make like a fishing lure with the glass bead on the lure is, you know, cremated ashes in glass. And, you know, we were having this discussion, not to go too far off of that topic, but we were having this discussion about how, you know, you can mass produce, or not necessarily mass produce, or make those for everybody. I'm like, well, I don't really need to make them for everybody. I just need to make them for somebody. Like, if this one item, you know, makes that person feel that happy, then there's no reason for me to go and make a whole bunch of them. You know, I don't need to make everyone happy. It's just, you know, it's an art piece. It's supposed to make the person that has it feel a certain way. And yeah, I think I get more joy out of making those individual piece for individual person rather than, you know, just trying to make something for everybody and make sure everybody's happy or feeling what I'm making, or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, dude. I totally understand that, because it's like for myself too. Like, and over the years, I've always done like I had like 20 different items I just cranked out for my distributor all the time. But I also, like, I guess it was like what I was saying before, how you're always growing in yourself as a glass artist, understanding the medium to where you can get to a point to where you can have your voice in your work. So in a sense, you found that, like, and it sounds like, you know, what you really enjoy, because to me, your voice and your work is the stuff that you really enjoy making. And absolutely, you know, not everybody's gonna want to buy it.
Right, but at the same time, you still have kids to feed and power to keep on and stuff like that. So you have, you know, there's definitely a balance that you have to find, because, I mean, doing what we do, you know, there are guys that get to do whatever they want and, you know, they pay their bills and they're doing great. But some people do have to make what people just what people want. And, you know, you do get to do those. You know, you do get to treat yourself to those artist days where you can make whatever you want, or you can make something you're really passionate about making for somebody or whatever. But then there are those times where it's like, okay, I have to work, you know, I have to make this, or. Yeah.
Well, that's like where I was going to kind of go with the idea was, like, in the past for myself, because of my scheduling now with having a job and then having my personal time to myself, I hardly have much time to do anything. So like, I'm trying to like make my time count by continuing my wise guy lines that I've been working on, but do like a limited line of like 50 of them and have them all not numbered, signed, and dated, you know, kind of shit, where it's still a production, but it's like my high-end production line. This is what I'm doing for this month or whatever, you know.
Right.
But it also takes time.
I think that's kind of where I'm at now myself.
Yeah. It takes time to get there. Like early on, like fucking make 1,000 one-hitters and wrap and rake spoons and all that shit for, you know, 5 years or so if you have to, so you really understand what you're doing. So then you can start doing, you know, you grow your following, you grow your line of work, you grow your technique and your abilities, and then you can get to a point, say 5 years down the road, where you can then launch, in a sense, a new line of work that's just, you know, limited to those who you feel are going to want to buy it, because not everybody's going to want to buy your stuff.
Right. And I feel fortunate in a way that I kind of skipped that part, but then at the same time, it took me 10 years of weekend warrior glassblowing to become what someone really probably could in 1 year of grinding.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely, I took a different route just because, I started a family really young and stuff, but I absolutely do feel like not doing that rendered me going in when I finally did start, when I did finally become full-time blowing glass.
Yeah, but it also helped you as well, like fine tune your like what direction in a sense you wanted to go with your work. And does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you didn't have to afford to you didn't have to blow glass. You just did it because you wanted to.
Right. It was, like I said, it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
But it was a hobby that, it was a passionate hobby. It was something I wanted, and anything that you want that bad, you want to do that all the time. You don't want anything else to get in the way of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like the side hustle that became your full-time hustle, which is fucking awesome. That's what people that have a side hustle hope it becomes, is that full-time thing.
But then you just replace it with another side hustle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's also the difference between, like, say, like a person who is an artist and a person who has the entrepreneurial spirit, because you obviously have like a business mind,
Right.
based on
Well,
how you and I talked pre-show.
Yeah, I didn't actually finish. I was going to college, just community college, and I was, I think, 1 or 2 classes short of actually finishing. But marketing, advertising, and business was what I was majoring in. So
Cool.
It wasn't. Yeah, I have a little sense is all that's there, really.
Hey man, as long as it's there, you can take it and just keep it going and just learn as you
Right.
go. I mean, especially nowadays, I hate to say it's easy to run a business nowadays, but it's easy to run a business nowadays. Like, there's so much shit that, I mean, you got to pay a couple bucks here and there for little apps and things to help you out. But between having like,
Right.
freaking virtual assistants and companies that you can send a logo to have them make it for you for $10 fucking, like, there's a lot
my
of
God.
access out there nowadays. I mean, hell, right now, who would have thought we could have done a recording of a podcast that you can listen to on your phone while you're at the grocery store?
Oh my God.
It's so,
Yeah.
it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Like, honestly, and I don't know. I know a lot of people out there who do what we do. They don't really worry about taxes and things like that, which I feel you should absolutely stay on top of your business and pay your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't tried or even heard of it, QuickBooks is like $16.99 I pay a month, and that is one small investment that, holy shit, it will make everything easy. So
Absolutely.
there are some awesome tools out there that definitely help us these days. That it is easy, but you still have to stay on top of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I always like to preach about like working in blocks of time, like 3-hour blocks, and then, or even, do like a 5 or 6 day week schedule, or some way where you can schedule in so when you're going to sit down and do your books. So it
Right.
becomes routine. It's not just that, every week's different. It becomes routine for you.
Yep. And that's one of the things that I slip on a lot is I'll let because I have my mileage tracker on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I have to separate every trip, this was for this was for that, or whatever the case may be. This was business, this wasn't. And I'll not go and I'll not check my mileage log for, a few weeks. And then every trip, if I went to the gas station, if I went to the, up the street, if I drove to pick the kids up from school, every single trip is in there both ways, and you have to go through and separate and do each one. So that's one that I slip on. But yeah, you have to really be on top of it. And
Well, a trick with that, what I learned, dude, doing that, like to help keep things separate, is I would just use Google Maps, and I would go to my invoice books and be like, if I drove to this certain shop, I would just put their address in my fucking Google Maps thing and just write down the mileage back and forth.
Yeah, see, that works too. But this thing will actually, when I get in my car and leave, it tracks my mileage to wherever I went for every trip I take.
Oh, okay.
So it's already there. I just have to tell QuickBooks what that trip was for.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you're talking about like that the app kind of gimmick you can get that tracks all your mileage basically, like you're saying.
Oh yeah, it works great as long as you keep on top of it.
Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. I thought you were talking about like your actual vehicle itself had that.
Oh no, I don't have none of that. It's through the QuickBooks app. It's part of the service I pay for.
Nice. That's good to know. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Too cool. Yeah, man, because I love the business talk, and it's not, I don't think it happens that often enough in our industry to, it's all about making shit and having fun and the life of the glass blower in a sense, but behind the scenes there's a lot of details that need to be taken care of.
Yeah, that's what people think. But there's a lot of logistics to it.
Yeah, and in terms of running a business, it's really simple to do. There's not many things that you need to keep track of in terms of your overhead costs and stuff, but you got to still keep track of that stuff. And if you can stay organized,
right,
then it's pretty simple. And also having an accountant, if you can afford one. I mean, I think anybody can afford an accountant. Just don't buy a bag that week or something,
right?
Because it'll cost you $100, to have them do your whole year's taxes, as long as your shit's is organized.
And that's not something I've really ever had either. I've never had an accountant, but at the same time, like I said, I'm not being paid by QuickBooks to push their shit, but
right.
Like they make it so easy. I haven't needed an accountant. The service I pay for also gives me my taxes free every year. So I mean, I've been using them for the last couple of years, and when it logs everything that goes, my bank transactions and things like that. And at the end of the year, I pretty much just have to add my extra expenses, my losses, whatever donations I made, etc., and okay it, and it just transfers all the information, and my taxes are done after signing a couple things. It's
nice.
Super. Yeah, it's the simplest way I've found, and I don't know, keeps things going.
Yeah, I'll have to look into them because it's definitely something. I don't need it as much anymore, but definitely something I could use. Well, shit, my daughter and I now have our side hustle going, right? Speaking of side hustles,
right?
So yeah, it's gonna be. I got a feeling this little side hustle her and I are gonna do is about to blow up. So, it's definitely something that's gonna be needed.
It's gonna be awesome.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, dude. So I guess early on, then, so you were doing spoons and shit. Like, at what point in time?
Well, yes.
Did you find where you grew
started,
that?
Like I said, Casey told me 6 months, no pipe. So after the day of 6 months, first thing I was going to make was a pipe. And my brother actually had it. I don't know. I think something happened to it. But the first pipe, I'll tell you what, waiting 6 months to make my first pipe, it wasn't a heady pipe by any means. But like for a first pipe, it was really nice. Like I was proud of myself. So I started making pipes still 2003, and from then on out it was kind of just like I said, it was random, this and that here and there. I would make cases of pipes that I would sell to friends. There was the thing Casey did where it was the kind of the local deal, the homie plug was $15 for a wrap and rake pipe, and you could pick 3 colors. And so I kind of took that on, and but after so long, all your friends have $15 pipes.
Yep.
And I would start then taking them to a couple local smoke shops, which actually there was one downtown locally called Psychedelics, which is closed since, but they would buy pieces off me. And then not long after, Ziggy's opened, and the original Ziggy's in Stockton, and Carlo, he would buy pipes from me here and there too. But I wasn't really hustling them. I would just have a case of pipes that my friends couldn't buy because they all didn't need pipes. So then I would take them to the shop. It wasn't how I made my money. It was just, it was how I made money to continue to blow glass.
Yeah.
It wasn't my business, but it paid for itself. And that's all I really cared about, was as long as it paid for itself. I just kind of went at it that way. Not really. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you weren't really trying to grow it necessarily. You're just trying to learn how to fucking melt glass.
Right. I just wanted to blow glass. I definitely wanted to be good at it, and but it wasn't. There was no desire to be. At the time, I didn't know there was going to be names in the industry, or I didn't know there was any type of fame that was even possible, you know? That wasn't what I was chasing. It was just, I wanted to be able to make stuff, and I wanted to make it nice so that Casey would compliment it, or, you know, just, I was looking for that's really nice. You know, I was always just looking for a piece, you know, trying to make pieces that made people feel a certain way, you know? And, yeah, I mean, it wasn't ever a grind until it had to be, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like once you started the grind full time that you lost some of the fun aspect of it, that became more of a job, or does it?
No, I mean, you know, there are some days, I guess, where you do feel like, fuck, I don't want to do this today, but that's kind of like what we were, you know, how I was talking to you a little before the show, and I mentioned that I was trying to get out of the whole where you're making so many of one thing nonstop, because I got in the position where, you know, and it's not something to complain about. Having orders, you know, you're blessed to have orders, and it's an amazing thing that people want your work. But I pretty much got stuck making one single item. Like, all I had time to make was that one item for 4 months straight. And it just, yeah, you definitely get to that point where you burn yourself out on it, and you don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, I kind of get to where I just want to jump around, and I like making everything, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the problem, dude. It's like there's so much stuff to make in glass these days. I don't think we'll ever do it in a lifetime, all the shit we want to make, you know?
No, and that's the thing too, is like, not just can you make just about anything out of glass, but you can also make anything out of glass and then turn it into something else. Kind of like with the pipes that we make. You know, I've been on this kick recently. Like, I made a shot glass that I turned into a rig. I've made pins you could smoke out of. I made functional fishing lures that you could smoke out of.
Nice.
Like, it's a lot of fun, really stretching and creating function in something that shouldn't function in that way, you know? It's pretty cool. Just the ability and everything that you can make. And then, especially if you have some sort of technique of your own or prep that you make or whatever, you can make anything and then make this beautiful, you can take it something as simple as a dish or a bowl, which people have been doing for thousands of years, making glass bowls, but you can put your own spin on it, and, you know, make it your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just an amazing thing.
Do you find that you have a thing yet, like in terms of like what you're, you know, reaching for?
You know, I've been looking for it for years. I mean, I know what I enjoy, and I think honestly, I get more joy out of making something clean than making anything in particular. Or, you know, I'm not much of a sculptor, though. I've sculpted some pretty cool things, I would say, but like, I think there's more things I want to learn than before I would ever decide what my thing was. Like, I don't think I'm ready to have a thing.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it does. But just talking to you, it seems like your thing right now is just making a connection with your guests or the people that buy your stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I like making pieces that people enjoy. I guess that's my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And dual functionality is pretty fun too. I like the idea of that. It's pretty funny. Like, I've seen some of like the cereal bowl fucking rigs out there that people are making. You know?
Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. It's definitely a cool idea, and I think it goes along with the whole functional sculptural aspect of stuff. But you're making something that already exists and then turning it into something else as well.
Right, which goes along with what I mentioned earlier. It's really cool, you know, not necessarily making a product that everyone can enjoy, but making a product that someone can enjoy. You know. There's always going to be that one person out there that'll appreciate that one thing more than anybody else. And sometimes it's cool to just know that one person has it rather than everybody having one, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But also that whole same thing can go along when it comes to pricing work, because sometimes, you know, you'll price something that you think is a fair price, and you'll have a whole bunch of people that come at you saying that you priced it too high, but there's one or two or three people out there that are willing to pay for it, you know, at that price.
Right.
And I've told people in the past, like, well, I guess this just isn't for you.
Right. I kind of adopted. I learned from Eric Spinney and Jeff Birding. They have this way that they approach what they make on a piece or on their work. And what I've adopted is I set my amount. Like, I know what I want to make for today. I know how much money that I feel like just working today you should make. And if I can make a heady piece that someone might say is worth $1,000, or if I can make, a couple of these things that are only worth a couple $100 or whatever, I try not to price my work so much on what people think it's worth rather than I price my day. So I don't care how big or heady or whatever something's in, is, I'm more than willing to accept, like, let's say I decide I need to make $300 today. If I can make something in one day and it doesn't use some, insane amount of glass and cost me more than that to make or whatever, I'm happy as long as I make my $300 overhead for the day,
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree 100%. Absolutely.
So that helps me, I think that's why I'm so successful selling a lot of my work, is because I'll take, what I would consider clean. I'm a real hard critic on my own work and what I call clean and don't. But I will take a piece that's really nice and clean, and I could probably get $600 for it. But, that took me half a day to make. I used $30 worth of glass. It took me, no extra opals, no nothing fancy. Like, why does it need to be $600? I can sell it for $300 today. They'll be happy. I'll be happy, and I can keep my business growing.
Yeah, totally. And I kind of wonder, just like psychologically, I think about this kind of shit all the time, and it's like I go again between like the business person and the artist, because like for me, for the show, I'm trying to express the whole idea of the artistic entrepreneur, to think like a business person, but also to be an artist and have an expression. And I wonder that those are just the expressive artist perspective, I guess, that they'll hold on to that motherfucker until they sell it for what the value of, say, the market or whatever they may, if they want $1,000 for it,
right.
Those, but like for myself and you, like you're saying, I do the same thing. Like, okay, I don't need to sell it for more than this because, but if someone wants to pay for it more than that, sure, I'm going to sell it at that much,
without a doubt.
And I think that's where auctions and stuff can come in handy as well, because it gives you a chance to help to test the market for one, but also to help set a price point on something, maybe a little bit above what the auction would go for. But then you see some auctions go for, why did that sell for that much? Kind of question.
Right. Well, it's real hit and miss and weird. Like I've gotten in auction, I got $375 once for a carb cap. And then I've sold $600+ rigs in auction for $250.
Yeah, exactly.
So
fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's auctions are weird, but the thing is I'm a pretty firm believer on the no reserve in auctions. I don't know why it grinds my gear a little bit when I see people have a reserve in an auction or a starting price. I know everyone does it different, but I do all mine starting at zero with no reserve.
Yeah, every auction that I've done it with a starting price point, say like $100, I didn't get a fucking bid on it.
Right,
and I've done it like 4 or 5 times, but I start every auction at zero.
Yep, and if you start at zero, it'll go over 100 quick.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and I think it's all like again, it's a lot of it's psychological stuff. The way the psychology in business plays.
Yep.
And especially with the generations now too.
Oh, absolutely. And I think with the new algorithms and the way Instagram's working, auctions are kind of like already becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder at times if the Instagrams of the world have caught on to the fact that we're using this free platform to make a shit ton of fucking money on, and they're not making anything on us. You know what I mean?
Oh, they have to. If that's got to be why they're changing what they're changing.
Yeah, because like when Facebook changed their whole business perspective and the algorithms on Facebook, there were literally thousands of companies that were making millions of dollars that overnight went out of business. Because of the way they changed their shit. It's interesting to see it. And I still haven't got on this whole, I don't even know what the hell it's called anymore, VO, or I don't know what the hell it is, the new platform out there.
Yeah, you know what? I downloaded the app and I made the account just because they said, the first million were free or whatever. And I got one to where it said, okay, you have the free for life. So I have the app, I have the account, but I haven't even logged into it probably in 2 months. And since maybe 2 days after I opened it, I posted some pictures and now I just have it so that if it ever becomes a thing, I have the free service. But
Yeah.
that's really as far as I've gotten with it myself.
Yeah, I want to bring somebody on that's using it because I haven't downloaded it or anything yet, and it's just for me, it's just one more thing I don't have time for.
Honestly, once I got on, that's the vibe I got. Also, was like, okay, this is just one more thing. But like I said, I only did it so that if it ever became a thing and I wanted to be part of it, I would have the free one.
Yeah, for sure. Which is smart.
Yeah, I try.
I didn't even know that they were offering that shit. I probably would have done the same thing. just to be part of the cattle.
Yeah, that was kind of all it was. I saw it on Instagram. I don't remember where or who probably posted it, but yeah, it was like that was the only reason I even did, was just to have the free one.
Too funny. Yeah, I got to bring somebody on about it. And I mean, I get it. There's been a lot of things. Like I was part of a beta test for a social media platform called Hilo, and it was basically,
I remember that.
And it was basically like a verbal, audio type thing, and it was a lot of fun. And I just got to a point where I just kept forgetting to log in. Like I was trying to every day do 3 or 4 different things on it just to keep my thing was growing and blah blah blah. Even though it was all beta tests, so like our group was maybe like, I think like 400 people or something like that.
Right.
But still, it was a cool thing to be a part of the testing of it. But it made me realize it's just, there's people that could have definitely taken full advantage of it. And then for myself personally, if I had an audio type of thing like my podcast, I thought about doing like little snippets on there, but I kept trying to think of things to do on it, and I just couldn't come up with anything that was like worth spending the time to go on there. You know what I mean? But like if you're a musician or something like that, but there's a lot of them out there. And now with the video platforms too, it's like Twitter more or less bought out whatever that one was called. I can't even think of what the hell it was called at first.
I'm not sure. Yeah, see, that's one thing I never jumped on either. I've never had a Twitter account myself.
I only have one for my Pokemon Go obsession. That's all it is.
Nice.
I follow people that play the game and a couple podcasts I listen to, and that's it. Yeah, so awesome. And which I don't use that much, but but the video stuff, like I was saying, it's like it's the platforms, the Facebooks and the Instagrams caught on to it, so now they're you can do all your live streaming and shit, which I think is killer. Right. I think there's still things in it that need to be worked out, but the fact that it exists now in a little circle, and with Instagram and Facebook being connected to, it makes it a lot more convenient. And then you have your platforms out there that can post things for you as well.
I think everything's connected to Facebook anymore. Like every time I download something or go to a new website, it'll ask me if I want to connect with Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it offers you, if it's a game, they offer you like bonus coins or something to entice you.
Right.
Here's a carrot for you. Yeah, it happens all too often. But yeah, dude, to get the train back on the rails here, I was going to ask earlier about the trade show thing. So you did your first trade show, and you said you had a pretty good, successful time there. Are you continuing from there now to do trade shows too?
Well, yeah, I've limited my trade shows. Like the only trade show I'm doing anymore is Glass Vegas, at least for now. I've never participated in Champs. I've been to a Champs. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in vending there, but more so if I go, it'll just be to try and compete. But Glass Vegas has been an amazing trade show the last 2 years, and I'm probably going to continue to do that. But beyond that, no, not really. I did age back in the day. I did age for 2 years actually, and then we had that, or was it 3 years? I did age for 3 years. We had that debacle at Hard Rock. Mm-hmm. And I'm not ever gonna do that again. So,
dude, I heard so many horror stories from that time. Not to bring up the past, but it sucks.
Yeah, no, not at all. Like it, it's I could go in. I can go in on that, but it would just sound like I'm bad mouthing the trade show, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I definitely won't be participating in an age event ever again. But yeah, I'm just sticking to the one trade show a year, Glass Vegas. This next year coming, it's not even going to be, probably just hang out, try and pitch the idea of the new website and get some sales that way. But yeah, I'm not really traveling around doing too many outside of that though.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's expensive for one, but it's also just time consuming, and there are
Right.
it's just so crazy. It was so crazy seeing the 3 trade shows within like 2 weeks of each other, and people having to either stay in the town to do all the
Right.
trade shows, or just pick and choose which one you want to do, or go home and come back. It's like it's fucking crazy.
Which is the same deal for the glass blowers too. You can't, especially if you're one that vends at both shows.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of hassle.
Yeah, man. So, because like myself personally, I've never done any of the trade shows. Except, well, I can't take. I've never sold at any of the trade shows. I've been to when Champs came to Orlando. It was like maybe a third of what they normally are like size wise, but it gave me an idea
Right.
of the concept of it. And I
Right.
definitely think like the evolution is going to go to what like Las Vegas is doing, where they're really taking care of the glass blower. Like it seems like a lot of Age did at first. They kind of got too big, whatever. And then Glass Roots is the same way. Glass Roots is all about helping, being there for the glass blower. Different
Right.
side of the country, so it's like different areas. But I think that's the evolution of the trade show.
Yeah, Glass Roots sounds like a good time, and I've heard a lot of good stories about it. It's just the cost plus the cost of travel. For the most part, I drive everywhere I go. So whether it's Vegas for, Glass Vegas or any other show, or it's, Pennsylvania for Melt, I usually drive it. And the idea of driving all the way out, east for a trade show that's going to cost me a bunch of money. I've never been there. I don't know if I'm going to sell anything in this area. I think nerves more than anything keep me from doing it. But yeah, I don't really ever go that route for trade shows.
Yeah, there seem to be coming more to the East Coast. I think Champs is going East Coast next couple of months or something.
There seems to be a lot of artists out that way.
Yeah, the whole East Coast is blowing up. Like Philly's had their crew there for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't
slowly
even realize how many people were in Philadelphia until was it the year before last, the first year of Melt. I was out there. My shopmate Gonzo and I, we went to work with Brandon Robinson, Casta, Topher, those guys out there. And we ended up going to see Germ at his shop, and Slinger was there. Like, I didn't realize there were so many guys right there in that area that just not necessarily rock out and like work together, but just work around each other.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists, but there's a lot of high caliber artists as well, which is really cool. Philly has it going.
Yeah, dude, it seems like they've all like inspired and motivated and pushed each other, for like the last decade. And they've all just really, and what's fun about them too is they all have their thing. Like they all have their own little style. It seems like like that area is the music, the graffiti, type skateboard lifestyle kind of persona. In the glass, which I dig.
Yeah, definitely an interesting city too. I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
if you've ever been to Philly?
No, not yet. No.
It's, where I grew up it's pretty well known for being kind of a ghetto place, I guess you could say. But man, Philly's got its own something going on. I can't even explain it.
Yeah,
the place is interesting.
Yeah, I hear you. It's like going into Atlanta or something like that, like some different areas.
See, I've only driven through Atlanta. Never really stopped, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a fun area. It's just big and crazy. For sure. But yeah, dude, so what's up? There was something else I was gonna ask you too. I don't know. It had to do with the trade show thing. Oh yeah, I know what it was. I was gonna ask you about what we talked about pre-show. I'm not gonna put this in the show. This is all gonna be edited out. But did you want to talk about what your new platform idea is, or do you want to keep that to yourself?
Yeah, I don't mind sharing it, because honestly, I feel like it's something that could help a lot of glass blowers, and as long as it doesn't really get out to customers as far as like finding the sites. Everything has to be set up to where you're logging in, you know, you have your account,
Yeah,
whatever. But you know, I'm just trying to approach the way I get my glass sales a little different with the trade shows this coming year. I actually purchased a new domain name, which that I'll keep to myself. But the idea is to basically make shelf fillers, like lots, like a you know, there's $1,000 package where this package gets you this piece, couple of these, this thing, whatever, already pre-made, pre-packed, ready to ship. And that way I can go to these trade shows. I could take limited glass, you know, not fill up the whole car with pieces. And, you know, because like last a couple years ago, Gonzo and I, we were on our way back from Chalice and we had a really bad car accident. And accumulatively, we lost with collabs and stuff, probably close to $30,000 in glass.
Jesus.
And, you know, and not that I expect to get into accidents or that's even the reason I'm doing it, but just traveling with your glass is always, you know, risky. Mm-hmm. And so I can take, you know, limited glass to the trade show, pretty much just show off my products and, you know, promote my website. That way buyers can go to my website and buy these lots of glass and, you know, fill a shelf without actually having to buy 5 of these or 10 of that or, you know, whatever, just to get the things they want. Just kind of a new approach I'm hoping to take, or I'm not hoping, but I'm working on taking. I'd say we're about 40% of the way through the site and getting everything going and together. And yeah, just an idea to stay on top of sales with the way everything's changing, especially with, you know, a lot of us, myself especially, I get a lot of sales through Instagram, whether it's, you know, individuals or it's shops ordering ordering wholesale orders of things.
Yeah.
And you really don't know what's going to happen, especially with the way everything's been changing on Instagram, Facebook, things like that. So it's just a way to kind of try to stay ahead of it and be ready for the next thing, just in case. What if next week we can't sell glass online anymore? You know, not that that's going to be the case, but, you know, just through these apps and things, we can't rely on them as much as we do. And I found myself really relying on online sales, and I didn't feel comfortable feeling that way, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just an approach to try and avoid all that and, you know, stay on top of what's next, I suppose.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm just kind of like, my brain's moving here because of the mode that my kid and I are in right now with our stuff. And we've been following a couple different Instagrammers that are in the same genre and niche that we're in as well. And we've found that like a lot of their stuff, like when they'll promote like a new design of something, the actual page itself, like the image has like a little button on there, you know, it says buy now basically. And you just click it, and it'll take you to their website, which is connected to Instagram, but it's their own personal website that takes you directly to your shop.
Right.
You know, but then it gets my brain thinking too about like the video games and stuff, and also some of these new like home food delivery services out there. You know that they have like you know, and it's all subscription based stuff. But my thinking with the video game thing was like with your packages you're talking about, like with the Pokemon Go shit. Every once in a while they'll have like these special boxes they'll release, and they have like special items that are in there, and they're discounted as well. But it's already in your thing, so it's, you know, it's in your shop. But what really made me think about it was the home delivery services, and you could set that shit up to where, you know, this is your 30-day supply of whatever you would need in this package, and then they subscribe to that particular gimmick, and then the next month they'll get an email or a text message saying, just so you know, on this date and date, your thing's renewing. If you want the same package as default, it'll get resent to you, or you can go to this blah, 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 and pick out a new package to be delivered, or go here to cancel your subscription, you know, type thing.
Well, I don't know if you had seen it. When I first made the transition, when we had the fire and Blue Mountain Glass had closed and I had to start blowing glass on my own, I kind of needed money quick to get, you know, a liquid tank and things like that. So I had launched the glass subscription where it was a couple $100, and for 12 months, I did it for 12 people. For 12 months, they got a piece in the mail, or not a piece, I'm sorry. They got one item from these 12 items I made for them every month for 12 months. And a couple people had done it since, but I actually did just to get the seed money to get my tanks going and set up on my own at home for when I became full-time at home myself. The seed money did come from a glass subscription that I started through Instagram.
Nice. Hell yeah, dude. That's a great idea. And see that, and that's
Yeah, it
smart.
worked out.
Yeah, that's a smart business model. I think it's killer.
I just try and stay on top and stay in front of things, But
yeah, that's all you can do.
Those kind of ideas will come to you sometimes.
Yeah, but the thing is that you actually executed the idea. There's so many of us that have ideas and it just sits in our fucking brain.
Right.
It's
well,
actually...
I've got a lot of those too.
Dude, I have like 10,000 every time I take a shower. It sucks.
Right. Those are the three to four paycheck ideas that I haven't been able to
yep.
just jump on yet.
Yeah, I've had many $1 million ideas in the shower, and
right.
I have my phone, and they're usually like listening to a podcast or something playing. So I'll stop real quick and dry my hands off and like type in my shit, just make sure I have it.
Pet Rock's already been done.
Oh man, fuck. But but going on with the subscription thing, I think it's a great business model. And I mean, like myself personally, I got hooked into I think it was HelloFresh, hashtag not sponsored, and they basically had it set up to where I had to go. You had like a certain window to either cancel or to stop delivery for that week, and you could do the same thing with the glass. You can have a certain window where you can either cancel the subscription or just not have a delivery for that month. But the next month it's going to kick back in again, so you have to go back in there and change. You know what I mean?
I have a nice.
Yeah, it was my Yeti just fell off my table.
There you go. I have a subscription through a fishing tackle company that's the same deal. I actually paid for a year on one, and then it's monthly for a different type of tackle. Like I pay for bass and I pay for trout. But it's the same deal. You cancel it whenever you want. And yeah, those subscriptions are really cool, man. And you can get them for just about anything anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like the pipe industry needs to jump on board on this thing. Cause like my son gets this, I don't even know what the hell. It's some kind of, he gets a box every month and it's like got different items in it from different movie posters or a toy or some kind of pop culture thing or a movie thing or whatever. It's always different stuff in this little box that he gets, and it's a monthly thing. He got it for Christmas this year. It's the subscription thing, and it's so easy to set up. It's just marketing it and getting the idea out there and getting people used to the concept.
While we sit here, I just Googled 420 box, and there is it's doyougoodiebox.com, and it's just fucking snacks, and there's a pipe in here, and there's some fucking silicone shit. They have them. I guess it's not necessarily just glass, but it's obviously going to be a bunch of Chinese stuff, but it exists.
Hell yeah. Of course it does. We're talking about it.
Of course it does. Add that to the list of ideas that have already been had.
Yep. Yeah, but there's definitely ways to take that concept, because that's like the whole, it's like the blue ocean, red ocean concept, and where like the red ocean is just so full of sharks that you're not going to make anything in there. So you go to the blue ocean and you drop your line. And I think it's still new enough in our industry. But then again, you have to deal with legalities and laws, and which is the same redundant thing. And whatever going on.
It's like that with everything.
Yeah, it's like so. There's got to be a reason it's not that popular right now. But I've still wanted to take the whole like Tupperware dildo party kind of concept and do it with pipes too,
Dude, that is a great idea. Huh.
Have some pieces
never crossed my mind.
You could use, at your friends' houses and take orders, and then they can just go do the same thing at their house, and you can host a party at their house, and they can make money on you. Multi-level marketing stuff,
Oh man, that's actually a pretty cool idea. I never really thought of that.
Yeah, I just don't know how. I guess it could be done. Just you need a shit ton of inventory.
I've definitely supplied pieces for the dildo parties.
Hell yeah, me too. I had a girl that at the smoke shop I used to work at. She used to run those things, and I'd make them for her. Yeah, it was.
It's tight.
That was right after Operation Pipe Dreams.
Yeah, well, it was also the same time when I was learning, so. It was still kind of secretive. So we'd made all that shit. I never really made them just, for bulk orders, but like for everybody, but I did make orders of them for local shops and things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, they were expensive back in the day. It was crazy seeing some for sale for like $250 retail and glass dildos.
Right.
You know.
Well, see, what I did with them was, like you get one stick of, if you buy an individual stick of 25 mil, I believe it was like $20 or something. And generally I get 9 to 10 pieces out of one stick, and one order would be one stick. So I'd get about 10 pieces. I charge $350 for the order. And, it was $200 or $330 come up for, 1 day's of work.
Yeah.
If that. So yeah, it's definitely a good grind.
Yeah, it definitely is. And then they were getting imported and blah, blah, blah. So now it's, like anything else.
Oh yeah. The dildo became the pipe. Yeah. It's all the same.
Yeah. It was fun. So, yeah, dude. Well, I think on that note, I think it'd be a good time for us to take a quick break. Unless there's anything else you wanted to cover, I'm going to make sure we covered the topics.
I don't know. Unless you missed any topics, I don't think I missed anything.
All right, cool. Because we have gone all over the damn place.
Right?
Which is killer. I dig it. So, cool. Well, we'll take a quick break. Thanks, sponsors. Come back, and there'll be time for us to crash the kiln.
Sweet.
This segment of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Zen Glass Studios. Located in the heart of St. Petersburg, Florida, Zen Glass has a wide range of offerings to choose from. Their menu includes one-on-one or group classes in their hot shop or flame working studio, create your own wine glass, and so much more. If you're a traveling artist, they even have a space to rent that you can temporarily call home. With over 50 years of combined experience, Zen Glass can help you fine-tune your techniques, whether you're a novice or advanced glass artist. For their calendar of events, including info about their Third Thursday studio jams, you can contact Zen at zenglass.com. That's zenglass.com. Yeah, so the Crash and Kiln round consists of 7 questions. You can give me a 30 to 60-second answer on each question or expound upon them as we always do. And the first question I always like to ask is if there is any living glass artist that you have not yet worked with. Who is it and why?
Man, honestly, I would have to say probably Banjo. And just because I feel like, I feel like I have a lot of ability. I can make things pretty clean, but I feel like he's somebody that could really push me to do probably more of what I am actually capable of. Like, you get comfortable and you get, you don't really push yourself to do these things sometimes that you may be capable of just because you're nervous, or you just might not know how to approach the process correctly. And I feel like anything that I can make with that guy would not only be beautiful and amazing, but a huge learning experience.
Hell yeah, he's been a common answer for sure.
Really?
Yeah, he would definitely be somebody I would
artist.
say too. Yeah, he is. Artist and also person too, and I got to get him on the show because I would definitely want to pick his brain on stuff.
Yeah, I've actually met him in person a couple times, and he's an enlightening person. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, second question is your top 5 favorite colors in glass.
Oof, that's a really hard question. Probably I would go Eclipse for my black. It's like the one true black, I feel. Double Amber Purple, Green Stardust. Is that 3 or 4?
3. 3 right now.
Dark Garnet, and the old we used to call it Pert Plus. What is that damn white? I can't remember what company makes it. It starts with a D.
Is it like a
or made it?
Is it like a?
It doesn't. You can't get it anymore.
Oh yeah, Draconis white.
The Draconis white.
Oh
yeah, we used to call it Pert Plus.
Yeah, dude, that stuff was. I love that color.
It has that shimmer. But if I could ever find it, that.
I know my buddy of mine's got a bunch of that shit. I don't even know if he's even melting glass anymore. But years and years ago, when he was my first apprentice, and about 6 months into the process of learning, he took the middle of his finger off, and
shitty.
Yeah, on a saw blade. Yeah, doing woodworking. So he basically took a year and just like read and educated himself and bought a shit ton of color, and he would just like stock up on fucking stuff. And
he chose the right time to do it.
I know, right, dude? So he's got a bunch of it. He has like the old OG moss. Like he's got a bunch of old shit that doesn't exist anymore. He's sitting on a gold mine of color.
Jesus.
But yeah, Draconis, that stuff was the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, color. So what's your worst injury in the studio?
Ooh, man, I've gotten a couple of pretty good ones. I burnt my mouth really good. Like there's been 3 separate occasions where I've burnt my lips on hot blow tubes. But one that really stands out is I had this long, it was probably a 12 to 14 inch piece of tube that had, I don't know why it came this way, but it was 2 factory ground joints on either end of this tube, but it was a long ass tube, you know?
Okay.
And so that's what I would use to make slides. I'd stick my joints in there, hold it, make the slides on it. And one time I was blowing out the bubble for the slide and the joint popped out, and I picked it up off the bench and put it back in the wrong side. So I went right back in, got it hot, went to blow on this 18 millimeter female joint, and put my lips right up to it. And it was the side that had just been holding the joint.
Oh man.
Prior. And so it ended up, it looked like once it blistered and then looked like the perfect ringworm that went around both of my lips. The picture's on my Instagram somewhere. And then there's that one. And then one other one that really stands out. I pointed the National at my wrist, and I was working on the lathe. I had the GTT going, pointing at something. I had the hand torch, getting it hotter on the other side. And I don't remember what happened. I think maybe I dropped something, or I was looking over the backside of it, trying to do something with the hand torch. And then I looked at the other torch and then pointed the hand torch right at my other wrist. And like, it was this crazy, like, if you've never felt shock, like, I didn't even know what happened. It hurt so bad that it was like my brain did like a factory reset, and I dropped the torch. Like my hand just let go of the torch. It fell on the floor, still running. And that was 3 years ago now, and I still have a pretty good scar on my wrist from that one.
Man. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking nerves right there too.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what an alligator bite feels like, but what I imagine it feeling like is what that felt like. It sucked,
Yeah, fuck yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Really hurt.
It just sucks. Oh man, yeah, it sucks. So when you're in the shop, do you watch TV, listen to the radio, or do you do both?
Well, I don't have a radio, or I'm sorry, I don't have a TV in the shop. I listen to music. I listen to podcasts, comedy a lot, or I will listen to movies. Like there are some movies, like Forrest Gump, for example, is an amazing movie if you just listen to it.
Yeah, totally.
So everything's audio, but there are movies here and there.
Cool. You have any glass blowing theme tattoos?
You know what? I've been talking about getting a gnarly, because my Nortel Miner was my first torch.
Hey, me too.
So I think if I get nice,
yeah,
spent 2 years on that thing.
Fucking yeah.
So I think I want to get some beastly somehow image of the Nortel done. I do have a tattoo that I got at Melt. Actually, I got the last 2 years. I got this little hand flicking a marble, and then the year before that, I got the it says Melt with the with Micro's little bear guy from Mario.
Nice, yeah. Yeah,
so I guess those count.
So just on a side note, how was the Melt experience? 'Cause I've actually heard some amazing things about it.
There's nothing like it. I actually have been fortunate enough these last couple of years to be on staff with the event. I go in, help set up the tents, run the power, get everything ready, set up the kilns, but the the event overall, like honestly, there you couldn't ask for more, especially for the price. I know the $1,200 to a lot of people sounds like a lot, but when you get a torch spot for the whole event, you're fed 4 meals a day, amazing food, and then not to mention, there's artists there that are giving demos and giving classes and lessons, like hands-on lessons, where you would pay $800 to $1,000 just to see that one artist, and you're showing up at this and you're getting 5-6 of these amazing artists and that same opportunity with each of them. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced, not only in glass, but like it's camp for it's just like being at a kids camp, only you're an adult, you're with all your friends.
Yeah.
There's not enough good I can say about this event. It's just the most amazing thing.
Hell yeah. I got to need to contact that group of people, get them on the show.
It's Sean Gold, Kevin Beecher, Todd. I don't know Todd's damn last name. Todd, Josh Mazet, any of those guys, Paul Catherman. That's the group of guys that are running it and put it on. So any of those guys, I'm sure would be good contacts.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Appreciate that.
Yep.
And final question I like to ask is, what are your top 5 favorite tools? And that does not include your torch or your glasses.
Ooh. Does a mini smith count as a torch?
It counts as a tool. Yep, you can use that.
All right, my mini smith with the Shevo tips. Hands down, one of my favorite. Like, I don't know how I blew glass for so long without that.
I said torch. The same thing. And I use it now on my solid work, dude, and it's a complete fucking game changer. Dude, to be able to move glass around and see it being moved around.
Yep, it has a lot of functions. Like, you can use it for just about anything.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That I know a lot of guys don't use them, or like some people even frown upon them, but I love my blow tube or my blow hose.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I use one. Game changer.
Yeah, I like to be able to see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
For seating joints, I really like quartz joints for the seats. I have this little reamer. My buddy, actually a local guy here, Garrett Slover, he goes by Wind Up Devil online, but he makes this little pencil reamer that he calls it the tool you never knew you needed.
Too fun.
And yeah, it's honestly, it's probably my favorite reaming tool that I have. It gets into anything that it's all brass, solid brass. The end has like this fat reamer end on it that you can use for mouthpieces, carbs, just really anything. And I think they're only $25. And then if you ever like drop it and mess up your tip on your brass, he'll remill it for you. Amazing tool. And then probably my kiln, man. Like I said, I spent 2 years in a crock pot full of vermiculite. I appreciate the hell out of my kiln.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And that's a good thing though that you were told to use that, because I was told to use that very early on myself, and it was great for all my small spoons and shit until I could afford to buy a kiln.
That's everybody always trips though, because like the whole vermiculite thing, I know a lot of people know about it, some people don't. But just the fact that I left the crock pot on for 2 years without turning it off.
It's amazing. That's a good testimonial thing, whatever, for the company that made that fucking crock pot.
Yeah, I think Casey actually, when I was done with that, I gave it back to him. I think the crock pot's still sitting with the lid on it, still has the same vermiculite in it.
Too funny.
Yeah. That was years ago.
Huh, amazing. Well, yeah, man. Well, so before we let you go here, if you want to give us some parting piece of advice, and then where we can find you out there in the world of cyberspace.
Oh, man. World of cyberspace. Facebook I don't use much, but you can find me. It's just my name, Steven Geller. Cyberspace is Steller Glass. It's Steller Glass. That's pretty much it online. I don't use too many other platforms. Advice, honestly, like, especially if you're a newer glassblower, the best tip I can give you is make your pieces start to finish, even if you're not happy with it, because you're going to end up in this position. And I've told many of my friends this, like, you get to where you'll make nice ass pieces and then you're going to put a shitty joint on that nice piece because you worked on making that nice piece and kept throwing them away and continuing these nice pieces and never finishing them to the point you made what goes on at the end. You should make start to finish, shitty piece, shitty joint, shitty piece, shitty joint, until you're making nice pieces with nice joints or nice attachments or whatever the case is. If you start something, finish it, even if you're not happy with it, unless like you're at that point to where like, it matters and it has to be clean to sell it for your name or whatever the case is. But like, yeah, you should practice all the way through on everything you make.
Hell yeah. Well said, and I completely agree.
Sweet.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, dude, it was fun having you on the show and chit-chatting and going all over the place in tight circles. It was fun. We covered a lot of topics.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Had a good
dude.
time.
Yeah, likewise. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation with Mr. Steven Geller. Definitely check him out on Instagram, and he's at Steller Glass, and I'll have his links and all the information in the show notes, as well as his bio. You guys can check him out, and he will be episode 192, and you can find that at wiseguymedia.com/192 or on any of your favorite podcast catchers. And if you're listening to this now, you already know where to find it. So there you go. We'll talk to you next time. Y'all take care. Stay hydrated out there. Love you. See ya. This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by The Flow magazine. Since its inception, the focus of The Flow has been to provide a bond among members of the lampworking community. In every issue, you can enjoy great content with the hottest artists and cutting-edge techniques using the latest industry products. These features, along with the continuation of our Women in Glass edition, Glasscraft Emerging Artist Awards, inspiring gallery showcases, dynamic general interest articles, as well as health and safety information, make The Flow the leading international lampworking journal. For more information or to subscribe to The Flow, go to theflowmagazine.com. That's theflowmagazine.com.